Welcome back, everyone, to the Slim Flippers podcast. And today I'm joined by Ken from SSKPromo, Mr. Bill, D.O.G. Is that what that says on your screen there?
That is it, exactly. Yeah, and that's just only because StreamYard won't let me put in more characters. I have many other names that I'm known by or that I go by for sure. But those are the main ones.
Well, Ken, I have to say I've been looking forward to the opportunity to speak with you, and I appreciate you accepting the invitation. I've seen you on the Nashville Flippers show and you know, all those guys, and I've been wanting to talk to you for several weeks now. And,
yeah, definitely, and I've been enjoying watching your shows here. You're on a couple of different podcast type format shows, and been enjoying catching your content as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a whole lot. I know that you've been to the reseller rally, and that's one of the things I want to jump into. But let's talk about your name real quick, because it's all about the name, isn't it?
Yes,
it's all about the name. So let's talk about what is the SSKPromo? What is that all about?
SSKPromo is the SSK actually stands for Sideshow Ken. I'm just a little bit out there a lot of times, just like a circus side show. The promo part, I used to play in heavy metal bands back in the day. I was a drummer, big mane of 80s glam metal hair. And when I got out of playing, then I started to do promotional work for some of the local bands in the area, just kind of setting them up gigs, making sure they had advertising and sponsorship and that sort of stuff. And so I just kind of added the promo to my SSK moniker that I was using before. So that's where kind of SSKPromo comes from. And just at that time, you set up all your Gmails and all your accounts and stuff. And so when I got into all of this, it was just easy to port that SSKPromo over onto all of my accounts. And it's not the greatest reselling name, because it's not picker and flipper and all of that stuff. But that's me. So
well, that is you.
Yes.
Mine is mine's born out of my wife and I. We're both thin, so Slim Flippers,
Yes, perfect.
So,
very descriptive.
Yeah, I'm on the tall side. I'm 6'6", but I only weigh 200 pounds. So
okay,
that's
you're a tall guy. You can't tell that from sitting down the whole time. But
right, a little 2-inch box we're in. Well, it depends on what TV you're watching this on. So
yes,
but yeah, I saw that SSKPromo, and I was just, but wow, you were in a heavy metal band. Now, do you still have opportunities to play?
I haven't played for a number of years. I had actually sold a lot of that equipment. I also had went into doing some DJ work after I was done with the bands, because I had all of that equipment too. So, like wedding parties, graduations, just a general party sort of DJ. And I did that for a few years. But I haven't played. I sold all of my kind of musical equipment. And so I haven't played for a long time. A couple years ago, I do have an electronic kit that I drug out, and we did a little family thing at a gathering that we had, and just had a lot of fun with that. But as far as playing out and on a regular basis, haven't done that for years.
So do you ever miss it though? Sometimes you hear a song come on and you're like, man, I know that chord, or I can play that.
We all the time. I think we used to play this song, and whenever I'm out, when there's live music, when I'm, at a place that has live music, that gives me the itch to get back out there. 'Cause I'm always, the whole time the song's going on. And so, yeah, it would be fun to get back out there, but I'm a lot older now, and I don't no longer have that beautiful mane of hair that I used to. So
Well, see, that was going to be my next question. Is the mane hidden up there in the hat somewhere? Well, you just answered
It
that
is
one.
not. It's hidden someplace. Well, I do have. This might seem a little bit odd, but when I had my hair was down probably below the middle of my back at one time, and when it was kind of time to grow up and be an adult, I had that cut. But I had my sister. She braided it all into a big long braid. And we just took the scissors and snipped it across right there. And I still have it. It's like, it's in like a Ziploc bag or something, someplace in a dresser drawer or something like that.
See what you need to do, like the hat back there, your Commonwealth picker hat. I have one just like that. You need to kind of take it and lay it in and let it flow out the back of that. See?
give Commonwealth Hudson back here a ponytail.
Yeah, give him a ponytail.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. I would like to hear you play. I mean, I think that would be neat. Just sometime get up on one of your podcasts and just hit it a lick or two. I'd like to hear it.
Set the electric kit up and just bang out a tune or two. So
now, as far as your bands, I know we're a reseller podcast, but as far as your bands are concerned, what's some of your favorite bands that you matriculate to?
Well, anything in that kind of that heavy rock stuff from the 80s and stuff, your Motley Crue, Metallica, boy, it's always when you're put on the spot, I listen to this stuff, Great White, Poison, all of that sort of stuff is what I listen to. But I always got to get, updated a little bit further. Bop, by Hanson, the greatest song ever written. I don't care what playlist I make on any of my, you make a playlist on your phone. And, even if it's my Christmas music playlist, it's got to have Bop in there. Right. It just, cause it's a catchy tune. And if you listen to the lyrics, it is a very good, well-written song. So
we'll see what you could do. You could put together a Christmas album, of your music, and then we can have your commercial. Hey, folks, listen up. Ken, SSKPromo, he's got the CD for you this Christmas. Yeah, you put out your music.
We did one time years ago. My mother was she plays like the keyboard, just goofing around a little bit, and she was playing Christmas song. I might have been Jingle Bells or something, and she didn't know I was recording her. Okay. And just on a little recording. So I took that over with some guys from other bands in the area, and one guy had a little bit of a recording studio, and we laid down that track of her playing, and then we all played around it and sang, and then I gave that to her. That was back when we were still recording on cassettes. We didn't even, have a CD to burn. And I gave that to her at Christmas. And she's awesome. That sounds like me playing. Cause she had some mistakes in there. Right. And whenever she made a mistake, we would quit playing and just had a real good time with that. And so that she was really, I think I got a tear in her eye on that one when she got that for Christmas that year.
That's fantastic, man. What a great thing to do and have that forethought that, I'm going to capture this moment.
Yes.
But yeah, that's neat. Now I had done some interviews back when COVID was going on. Cause I've told you I'm a school teacher. And so when we were out for COVID, they were saying, hey, we need to kind of find ways to connect with students. And so I started doing, and this is where my reselling interviews come out of. I started interviewing just anybody and everybody on a thing for the kids at school. Yeah. And I got a hold of Judy Norton, who was Mary Ellen on the Waltons TV show.
Yes. Oh, I love the Waltons.
Yeah. And I got to interview her, and I talked to her for an hour on an interview, and she has quite the singing voice. I'm not sure if you know that, Kim, but that lady can sing, and she she's put out a Christmas album, and man, she is really, really good. But that sparked my thinking when you said that, the Christmas albums and all that kind of stuff. But wow, what a neat thing to do for your mom. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was great.
Well, let's jump over to the reseller rally, which you just came back from in Cincinnati.
Yes.
And if you kind of if you can, I've got to see your video where you were, I guess, the last day of it, or everybody's starting to leave. Everybody's actually catching the planes and stuff, and you're all sitting down in the lobby. Kind of take us through, for those people that were unable to attend, like myself. These part-time people can't quite get to those things.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I'm going to ask you about later. So take us through what you saw, good, bad, ugly.
The reseller rally, there was a lot of content this week from a lot of folks that had went to the rally. So it's, a lot of people are doing really good stuff that makes it feel like you were there. It gives you at least a taste of what was going on. But this is the second rally I've been to. I went to the one in 2021. And I've tried to hit, some other meetups. I went out to Vegas earlier in the year. I went down to Tennessee last year, and I love meeting up with other resellers, people that are like-minded. Not only did you get an opportunity to just kind of maybe talk shop a little bit, it's always exciting to tell your story. It's always exciting to hear somebody's story. And but the rally, this rally is kind of an informal event. It's not one that's built up with seminars or breakout groups, things like that. It's really just a meetup, and they have a few different events. There was kind of a networking event on Friday night. There was a thing, whatnot auction. We can talk about that a little bit later. And then there was the actual the main event was the riverboat ride down the Ohio River there, seeing the Cincinnati skyline. But I enjoy it so much. I like to meet other people. You watch all these videos. A lot of people, have said, and I would concur with that reselling. I'm a full-time reseller, and it can get a little bit lonely sometimes, or boring. In fact, because you're just here by yourself. You've got to do all your listing, all your cleaning, all your photographs, all that stuff. You're just here all day. And so watching YouTube and the other resellers in the community just get you, they're like coworkers, and you meet all these personalities, but just on the other side of the screen.
Right.
And to actually get to be there at an event and, shake a hand or give a hug or something like that, and really get to talk with somebody on a personal level, find out about their families and, what they do. And it's not all talk and shop. There's I'd say a 50-50, or maybe even more of a 75, just getting to know people, and 25, talking shop. Depends on, who you do. I'm usually just bouncing all over the place, talking to everybody when I'm at those.
Well, I hate to interrupt you just for a second, but that last video you did, it's like you were a kid in a candy store, because, here's, Commonwealth Picker, come on over here, man. Hey, here's so-and-so, come on over.
Yes.
You had a lot of that going on, but I mean, you got to get it while you can. But I was fascinated watching you work that. You did a really good job with that.
Oh, I appreciate that. But the rallies, or any sort of a meetup as a whole, if you haven't got a chance to go to one, and I don't want to jump ahead in your topics, but you had said, for guys that might be part-time, that kind of have a full-time job and they do reselling on the side, and maybe even some YouTube content. A lot of these events are in the middle of the week, or some of the bigger ones that are coming up, the Boss Reseller Remix or the FlipCon, those things are they're midweek, and not everybody can get to them.
Right.
But the rally is it's just great. I can't say enough, and thank yous to John and Pete and Kevin that were the organizers. That a lot of effort goes into something like this, and can't say enough thanks to them for allowing the rest of us to come together and just enjoy a great weekend together.
Well, and they had some other things. You had mentioned Kevin and some other guys there. They ended up having a auction, and if you could kind of talk about the auction for some people that don't know what happened. with that auction and how they got all the items and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, did a whatnot auction where all of the proceeds from it went to the St. Jude's organization, which, really great cause. And he had reached out to the community and said, hey, would you like to donate items for this whatnot auction? And people sent in tons of stuff to him, really great items. And most of them were, good collectible sort of items, things that, we as resellers that you would find and say, man, this is a great item. And they're, donated that to the cause. So they set this up. They actually had the auction. Everybody keeps joking that we were under a bridge. They parked this big trailer that Kevin had. We were right outside of the Paycor Stadium, which is where the Cincinnati Bengals play. So we were basically in the shadow of the stadium underneath a bridge and, or like kind of one of the roads which was just kind of a goofy setting. But
when you hear that, you try to frame it in your mind. You're like, wait a minute, what are they doing underneath the bridge?
Well, whatever you picture in your mind, that's exactly what it was. We were literally kind of just down under a bridge and everybody was kind of standing around watching this go on. Again, another thing, that the effort that was put into that, what you see on the auction is just what's in your camera shot. You don't see the frenzy of activity that's going on the fringes of people keeping stuff organized, of bringing in the next item, of organizing and cataloging the items that were sold. And a lot of the people that had donated items were there in the crowd when watching. And if your item came up that you had donated, you kind of got a little bit of that camera time. Kevin wanted you to pitch your item to get to sell. And I had donated an item myself. It was a Star Wars drone, like a TIE fighter drone or something like that. And and it ended up selling for like $99, which I was super excited, to kind of be able to do my little part in that. But overall they ended up raising like over $6,000 to send to St. Jude's in that auction, and that was all based on the generosity of the community, the kind of the YouTube reseller community, and the tireless efforts of Kevin, his family, and a number of other people that were helping to organize that event. So it was fun. It was a really neat experience. I'm not a whatnot guy myself. I've never had an auction. But to see it from that side of the camera, where all you see is the person on the camera showing the items, you don't get to see that behind the scenes stuff. And that was a really cool experience. And a great story being under a bridge, outside the Bengals stadium was kind of the fun part of it.
And that's awesome. But he had brought, I don't know if Kevin had brought it or maybe it was Mike, Death Pile Picker, actually drove the trailer there. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's the way that I understood. And the trailer was full not only of all the whatnot items, but I think a bunch of swag that they had given away on the boats and the boat ride. And Kevin's big trailer, of course it's plastered with his big stickers and his giant QR code on the back. So I suppose you're going to get your phone out and snap his QR code when you're driving by. Mike, of course, Mike Deathpile Picker, his sticker was on there and stuff as well. And when I say stickers, I'm not talking like a little sticker. Right. I'm talking like 6 foot.
Yeah, they said it was massive. I mean, people driving down the road. Oh, I see that. Wham, but super smart idea.
Yes.
Super
most
smart
definitely.
idea. So I give you kudos for that. I'm getting ready to go to the beach. I may have to I may have to get me a little thing put in my window. Find
Put
me
on
here.
your car, get you a QR code. Just make sure the QR code goes to, your stuff and not to Kevin's store.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You don't need somebody buying the Commonwealth Picker merchandise.
Yeah, I didn't check my QR codes. So yes, over $6,000. I mean,
yes.
And like you said, that's all the community giving of their time, giving of their efforts, giving of their materials and everything else. And what a great way. And I know, I'm sure Kevin is tired. I'm sure he's happy to get by that one because, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. I think he said in our interview on the podcast we had done, and I've seen him say at other places, that was probably the one thing in organizing the whole event that drained him the most. Was, because he made sure to put up everybody's items like preloaded into the whatnot to give everybody a shout out on his Instagram, like his little stories and stuff that they had donated items, and there was a lot of pre-show effort put into that, and greatly appreciated to Kevin, not only for that, but all that he does in the community and with charity works and stuff like that. So he's a great guy. Got to meet Kevin on several occasions now, and just a really good guy.
I haven't had a chance to meet him, but I know the work that he does, and he was actually one of the ones I first started when I started into being a reseller. I watched quite extensively.
Yeah,
so, I mean, he's got his Blue Ridge mama involved. He's got his kids involved. He's and he's a former teacher. Yeah. So for me, that's my connection to him being a teacher as well.
Now, I was all gushy there. This is recorded, and you are going to be able to edit that out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want Kevin to really know, that I think that highly of him,
Well, so. I understand. Yeah, I could edit it, but then we would lose that, So I can take out whatever parts you need me to, Ken.
Yeah, that's good. I always give the credit where credit is due.
The podcast you all had. They started talking about a Christmas jacket. You ended up putting that jacket on.
Yes.
Take us in a little bit of detail about that, the story behind that one and where that was found and who got it for you, actually.
Well, if you follow along with a podcast, the shameless plug, the Reseller Clickbait podcast that I do with Jimmy and Jimmy Old School Flips and Corey from Grams and Pops Vintage, I am usually not this bearded most of the time. Every year I grow a Santa beard. Starting the 4th of July weekend, I grow out this beard, and usually the weekend after Thanksgiving, I bleach it. I bleach everything. I bleach my hair, my eyebrows, my beard, everything, bleach it out white. And I do some Santa work. Not really professionally. I have done a few things, but mostly it's for me to be to just kind of spread a little Christmas cheer. When I carry a pouch full of candy canes with me whenever I'm out and about, and I'm usually wearing red and stuff, and I get a lot of, if I get a Merry Christmas or a Hey Santa or whatever, boom, candy canes are coming out, and just those smiles and stuff makes me feel good. So it is kind of selfish in that way. But one of the mornings, a lot of people went out to yard sales during the rally, and it was an opportunity for people that are not usually together to go out and hit sales. So anyway, they're out at the sales. This is Jimmy Old School Flips, Dave, ADH Dave from Trash Cash carrying them. And they come across this Santa jacket right here. Now, it's not just a jacket. It's like a 3-piece suit. It's got pants. It's got a matching tie in there.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize I didn't realize you had the whole suit there, because you had put the jacket on your podcast, and it fits you. Looked like it fits you very well, from what I can tell.
It did. So, Jimmy, the way I hear the story, because I wasn't with him, Jimmy was out, and he's like, he said, "Look at this. Ken would love this." And Dave tells him, you have to buy that so that Ken can wear it like tonight on the boat. It was a little hot and inconvenient to wear on the boat that evening. But so that actually came to me courtesy of Jimmy Old School Flips, bought that for me. and it's going to go great with the Santa beard. I'm sure I'll be making a number of appearances with that on this holiday season for sure.
I've kind of got like probably your June, July beard going right now.
it's a little thin. You got a little way to go.
Well, I'm not going to make it because I've mentioned this several times. I'm a high school and college basketball referee, and my first college scrimmage comes up on October the 22nd. I actually have to start reffing again.
That's a kooky thing too about the Santa beard that I do is I had said I start growing it on July 4th, so I have to grow a beard in the hottest months of the year, and then basically in that first week of January, I shave it all off, shave it down, shave my whole face entirely, and so now during the winter, I'm having to grow the beard back. It seems kind of, but I shave it off, number one, because by the time it gets to Christmas, I'm so tired of beard maintenance with beard butter and beard oil and all of that, and the trimming and the styling and all of that stuff. It just, because I get the whole mustache turned up and stuff going on. And so I shave it all off. Plus, when I do the Santa stuff, I take it very, very seriously. When you're dressed like the big guy, that's I would never want to confuse a child or whatever, or misrepresent. And so that does get a little bit confusing in January when you got this guy that looks like Santa still walking around. And so I try not to, and so I shave it all off, and that's not to mean I'm not still going to wear this around, because this thing is beautiful.
That is awesome. And I remember seeing that on your podcast. I was like, oh, that is great. But if you're going to go into character, then you have to be that guy. If you're going to jump in and go all the way in, and like you're doing, and I think that's outstanding. You're doing that. But like you said, it could get confusing if in January we've got the big guy walking around.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, you could cut the beard down and kind of keep your face a little bit warm, couldn't you? In January,
I could, but it's also because I have bleached it all out. As it grows back in, it just kind of looks goofy because my I still have some darkness in my beard a little bit, and it just kind of looks goofy when it's dark up here and it's all white still down here. So that's why I shave it all off.
What if you went and dyed your beard and tried to make yourself look 20 years younger?
Oh yeah, I've thought about every year. I kind of shave it like kind of that first time into something goofy. I'll have big pork chop sideburns, or I'll have a big goatee or something like that. I try to do something goofy for a few days, or at least a few pictures anyway.
What you should do is lose the beard and take your mustache. Remember Raleigh Fingers that used to pitch in major leagues? Do one of those turnarounds. Do
the curl up, and that's how I kind of do with my Santa stuff. I'll curl it up like that. But it's fun. It's like I say, a lot of it I do for myself because it brings me joy to bring other people joy, and get that smile. And the little kids that kind of shy behind mom, or dad when you're out at the store, and you hand them a candy cane and they always warm up, and it's good fun.
So that's a great segue. I do this reselling game.
Had worked for a company. I was previously in the printing industry, and I worked for a company for 32 years. And due to a change in ownership, the situation just wasn't going to work out for me, because I was the overall manager of like 4 locations in 3 different counties, and ahead of every all of it. And but the new ownership just wasn't going to work out for me. So I left there with no plan at all. Kind of taking a look at my finances, and I'm pretty miserly and a bit of a Scrooge with my money. I'm very good. I'm very good financially, and I had taken a hard look at those finances and thought, well, I can go for a while on what I had built up. And so that was in August of 2019. that I left. And I decided, I had worked all these years. I wasn't going to do anything until January. I was just going to take a few months off.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, January came around a whole lot quicker than I thought it was going to. And it's like, I need to figure out my life. I can't live on this savings and this nest egg forever. And I don't want to totally deplete it. And I had a couple of friends that had been reselling for a number of years. And I always heard their stories about, the items, because everybody that's a non-reseller is always excited about, oh, I bought this at a yard sale for $2 and look, I sold it for, $80. And it's like, oh, that's amazing. Or, one of the guys was totally retail arbitrage. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to the stores and I'm buying clearance items and I'm selling them for, making all this money. And so I think I'll give that a try. And, through some of their tutelage and being able to have somebody close to ask questions. But I just went out on Google and I typed in, how do you sell on eBay? And I started watching videos and then found that there was a kind of a whole community of people. And, I watched, a lot of those same people that everybody watches, when they're starting out, the bigger channels. And then you find smaller channels that you gravitate towards. And so I have always been a full-time reseller. I never went through the part-time and had to build it up. And it was a benefit to me that I had that savings that I was able to rely upon until I was able to build on the business enough to be self-sustaining with it. And so, that's where I'm at. That's what I always say is the business sustains me. My bills are paid. If I were standing up, I'm definitely getting enough food. And it's, I'm not at this point, I am not being able to sock away a lot of extra money, like say in a savings. But I do structure my finances to where my bills are paid and I have plenty of money to put back into the business, because if you're only doing it to exist on, you're not going to last long. Right. So you have to be able to reinvest in that business to either buy new inventory or new equipment, computers, upgrades, whatever you might have. And so the reselling business sustains me, and I'm working for myself. And you have those freedoms that you have, like to be able to leave in the middle of the week and go to a rally or go to an event or anything that might come up family wise. You can do that, because the reselling job is, I don't have to get up in the morning and work. If I want to do my work at night or in the middle of the afternoon, I can do it as long as I'm consistent and I keep at it. Then that works.
Being a full-time worker and a part-time reseller, it's hard. There's days I come home, Ken, I'm just exhausted and I don't even touch the resale business.
Yes.
But the thing that I like is having these conversations. That's why one of the reasons why I started this Slim Flippers channel. For me to gain knowledge of how to become a better reseller. I'd talk to your partner in crime, Jimmy. Him and Mike Death Pile Picker have come on 2 different times, and we're going to do another one here in mid-October to kind of like the end of the trilogy.
Okay.
But wow, those 2 guys, they've given me a lot of knowledge, and I've been able to talk to a lot of these different people since I can't go to these rallies and things. This is the way I pull the information. But the way people are sharing things and giving of their knowledge and of their time, that just builds this community to me even more. I just love the whole community in and of itself, just the way everybody is very helpful. I haven't come across anybody that has not been willing to either help me or and sometimes they can't talk to me, and I understand that, just say, hey, I can't right now, maybe some other time. And I appreciate that too. They don't have to. You didn't have to come on my show tonight, but you did, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, it's I'll expand on that with the whole meetup and the whole rally thing too. Is the one thing great when you see all these folks that are on YouTube and on the channels and such, and everybody that I have met they're exactly the same person that they are that you see as the personality on the YouTube that they are in real life. And I agree. There's a number of people. I don't think any of us would really be in the position that we are in our reselling business if it weren't for help from other people in the community. I had a couple of personal friends that were helped. They don't even watch YouTube. They don't even know really that there's much of a community other than when I say, hey, I do some stuff, on YouTube. But there's, everybody out there that I've ever reached out to has been very accommodating, very helpful. And a lot of that comes from, I see somebody do a video about a certain process or whatever. And, I may send them a message on the side and say, hey, can we talk sometime? And I get a little bit more information, and boom, the next thing you know, we're video chatting or we're texting back and forth, and they're passing their knowledge along to me and being helpful. And I always try to do the same thing. I've had a number of people reach out to me and say, hey, you talked about something. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or if I'm in a lot of the chat groups that are on Facebook and stuff like that, I try to throw out my knowledge. There's a whole lot of difference in the community between your knowledge and your opinion.
Very true. Very true.
There's a lot of people that are going to give their opinion on something, and this is right and this is wrong. And it's like, well, now I always like to throw it out as this is what I do and what has worked for me. And it's great. Yeah. The community as a whole is just overwhelmingly supportive of one another. And
well, but don't you think though it's good business to be that person that they see on the screen? Because I feel like people can see right through fake people and not genuine people, especially like, and you'd mentioned this in your podcast. You talked about when you come up to somebody, you felt like you know them, even though you don't. You've talked to them a couple of times, but you've made that connection. You're like, man, I know this person. You know. Kind of talk. I haven't had that feeling yet because I haven't gone, but kind of talk about when you do talk to somebody, and then you do meet up with them. How is that feeling that you're referring to? Yeah,
it is great to meet somebody that you have been watching, whether you've already had some contact with them or there's some people that you want to meet because you're really whatever the word, attracted to their channel or their style or the way that they maybe they have the same business mindset as you. And it's almost like, some of the folks are like meeting a celebrity. Like, I'm sure that's the way that everybody felt when they met me. They're like, hey, it's the D.O.G. No, but there's nothing more, I guess, humbling or something that gets you right there, that when you're at a meetup and somebody comes that you've never met and they say, hey, you're Ken, I've watched something that you've done. Wait.
You start going, wait a minute, do I owe you money or what?
Yeah.
I'm not Ken. I'm not him.
Waiting for him to hand me a subpoena. Are you Ken? Yeah.
Yeah, here you go, Ken.
You're in court on October the 8th.
Yeah.
It's, no, but that meeting of people and having them be what you expected is, it's just cool. And again, having somebody that might want to meet you at a certain meetup. And what I found is no matter how big the person's channel is, one of the things that I always say, the only thing that's different from me from any huge channel out there is tens of thousands of subscribers. they're, they just have bigger channels. They have whatever. Everybody is regular people. We're all doing the same job, which is great in the meetups because everybody's like-minded. Everybody's in this same business. And, we're all out there sourcing. We all got to take photos and clean and test and list and ship things. And we're all doing the same job. Just, some of us have put in more of the effort in, say, the YouTube side that makes them, but other than having that large following, we're just all doing that hustle, and it all goes down in the end to support your families. We're all doing this, whether you're full-time or part-time. I'm sure that you're doing your part-time work to supplement your income as a teacher and put a little bit of extra to that. May be just there's a lot of people that resell for a specific reason. I met a couple over the weekend that they wanted to pay down their mortgage, and they were specifically reselling just to pay down the mortgage. And in August, they were able to do that. They're debt-free in their home, but they enjoy the reselling. They weren't YouTubers or whatever. They enjoy the reselling so much that they just keep doing it part-time. Now they're building funds to take a vacation, or, they were able to go to the rally. I forget exactly where they had traveled from. It just so happens that the rally, I live in Ohio, and the rally was in Cincinnati/Kentucky. It's all Cincinnati, but the hotel, everything is actually in Kentucky. But I'm able to go to that a little easier than some folks, just because it's in my state. It's a few hours drive, and I'm there, and that's good. But people travel from all over to do the meetups, whether it's Vegas or over in the Carolinas or wherever. And some, this business, part-time, full-time, helps pay for those. And so those are the types of stories, like that couple that I listen, and I wished I could remember their name, because you meet so many people.
Right.
But, they started it to pay down, I said that, to pay down their mortgage. And they've done that, and they're proud of that. And I was happy for them to hear that story.
Fantastic, especially in the market today. Being able to pay off your mortgage, that is fantastic.
Yes, just in that story, that month by month they made enough each month to pay that monthly bill, and they paid that last payment.
Wow.
And just an exciting, a really cool story.
That has to be. Making that last payment on your mortgage. Goodbye mortgage.
Yes.
And to hear that they're continuing to be resellers. Now, do they have plans, Ken? Did they say they have plans to ever get on YouTube or do anything like that, or jump into Whatnot or any of the other stuff?
No, they enjoy. We were talking about that, the knowledge that they gain from the community. They watch a lot to learn, and they were there to talk to other resellers and learn. From people. They watch it, for that entertainment value. Some channels are very informative channels. Some channels are just, entertainment channels. And they didn't really have, they weren't on camera, sort of, that wasn't their thing. And actually, one of the things, I'm not saying, oh, Ken, you're great. Well, no, wait, let me back up. Yeah, usually I'm saying, hey, Ken, you're great. But in this instance, what I'm saying is when I'm at those type events too, is I try to be an ambassador for any event that I'm at, whatever it is. I go around the room and I talk to everybody, but I look for that guy that's kind of standing on the fringes, on the outside. And I can go over and I can say, hey, I'm Ken. What's your, do you have a channel? Do you not? What do you do? Resell? And I talk to them, and a lot of them are afraid to approach, these people that they see on the channels. They don't want to get in the middle in this group, and just the number of people that I would, be able to go, hey, have you met John? Cincinnati Picker? Let's go over. And give them, a second, because, I'm friends with John and, a lot of the people in the community. Or if I was in a group of people standing around, I would pull somebody in and say, hey, this is such and such and such. And now they became part of, the little group and the circle of people, or the little lounge area that people were sitting in.
Sure, they're cool, super appreciative of you doing that, because, it's like, going to a dance and being standing over there and not being able to get out on the floor. It's the same kind of setup. That they may not know anybody there particularly. I mean, that again, it's also that thing. I've seen you on YouTube, but I don't know you. I don't know what to say to you.
Yes. And it is a lot easier for folks that have a YouTube presence to meet up with other folks that have YouTube presences, because you've probably seen one another. And so there's some sort of familiarity. But if you don't have a YouTube presence at all, those people are just on those fringes. And they may be afraid to approach, or people are not approaching them because maybe they don't recognize them from a channel or where they're at. And so that was one of the big things that I like to do is drag those folks in and give them a place, give them their time, shaking the hand or talking with somebody that they know. And it's usually like an introduction, and I'm off to the next person, and then they get their time.
Right. That means so much to them, because I could put myself in their shoes. I could feel that, and that's a big thing for you to do. It's almost very Santa Claus-ish, it's the same kind of thing where you're bridging that gap and trying to help.
I kind of do have those tendencies, and it makes me feel good when somebody gets their opportunity, and that's in no way going, hey, I'm great or I'm special or I do anything, because I've seen a lot of other people walk up to folks that were on the fringes and stuff. But it's the thing that I do. Like I say, I like to be that ambassador for anybody's event, and see a need and fill a need for somebody.
Well, you were talking about when people recognized you. I've had that happen one time, and it's been about a month ago. Now I've only got 86 subscribers on my Slim Flippers channel, but that's 86 I didn't have 4 months ago.
Yes.
So
exactly.
It's a slow climb. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ken, I appreciate each and every one of those subscribers and anybody that else watches my channel.
Yes.
I appreciate them so much. But what happened is I was at a yard sale and I heard this man, he goes, "Sir, are you Wes?" And I was like, what's the confusion for me is a lot of people, I live in East Tennessee, and a lot of people know me being a high school, college basketball official. They've seen me at these games for the last 20 some odd years. And so I was thinking it was either a coach or somebody that I've had along the way, as far as my games are concerned. I said, yeah, I'm Wes. I said, do you coach or something somewhere? He goes, no. He goes, I saw your Slim Flipper channel. He goes, I recognize you from Slim Flippers. I said, that is so cool. I said, that's the very first time it's ever happened to me.
Well, Wes, I tell you what, you're one up on me, because that's a bucket list item for me, is to have somebody outside, when I'm at a sale. I have not been approached or recognized at a sale yet. When you go to a meetup, everybody's there and they've probably crossed paths and they're going to see. But yes, so see, with 86 subscribers, you're one up on me in the recognition game for sure.
Well, I mean, like I said, though, I thought, okay, how does this person know who I am? Is he a coach? Is he, because I've reffed for a very, very long time. And so many people know me in that basketball arena circles. And he goes, no. He goes, I've seen your Slim Flippers channel. Yeah. And that meant so much to me. I was like, man, that is great. I appreciate you watching, help me out, give me some more subscribers, I think you're going to continue growing your channel for sure, which I want to also now dive into it, because I have been talking to Jimmy. Part of your, I think there's 3 of you on your podcast. You want to go ahead and mention your podcast that you all have?
Yeah, we do the Reseller Clickbait podcast. Which is we just did episode 70 the other day, which came out on Monday, which was, well, no, I guess 69 was the one that we did from the rally that just came out. So Jimmy and I started that podcast, over a year ago. And then now we have Corey from over at Grams and Pops is on board with us. And it's just great. It's just the show format is us just really kind of talking about what we did that week, silly stories of goings on. It is a reselling podcast. We try to throw out a little bit of reselling, not necessarily knowledge, but just something that's going on in the community. Sometimes it is knowledge that we throw out if it's something that we are passionate about or that we have a specialty in. But it's just mostly us being goofy for an hour once a week.
Well, I saw Jimmy. He was on Instagram and he was walking through that graveyard.
Yes.
And I got on there. I jumped on and I said, "Hey, man, we need to do a podcast together sometime. I'd like to, sit and talk with you."
Yeah.
But Michael was giving him a hard time about it being. Is there something going on there? That's the reason why you're walking through a graveyard.
It's actually right around the corner from his house is what it is. And a lot of people use that when they're doing exercise and walking. And so, he gets bored just out there walking. So he'll go Instagram live just to have a chance to chat with folks while he's on there. But yeah, I think that's mostly a proximity thing because it is just right around the corner from his house.
Right, and he's talking about his weight issues, and he's pretty much documented those. But I said, now, Jimmy, listen, me being a PE teacher, I want to try to give you some things, and we started talking about him eating carrots and celery for snacks. He said it lasted like one day, and that was it. He said, no, Nichols can't do it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
he was.
What a great guy for you to have on your podcast. Jimmy he's very easy to talk to. He's very knowledgeable. He's a funny guy. He carries himself very, very well.
Yes.
And just for me to have the opportunity to speak with him, just like yourself, I think your all's podcast again is going to start soaring. Now, you all had taken a break from your podcast. What did you get up to? Like episode 65 or so? Somewhere around there?
I think we were at 65. I kind of just the history from there. The way I'll put it as we had a bit of a situation, and the podcast was kind of abruptly ended. Mm-hmm. And we were about a month off. Jimmy was going to move on with projects on his own. I was going to move on with projects on my own. We just both happened to get with Corey from Grams and Pops as a replacement or whatever, or another co-host. We were going to go different directions. Well, that put Corey in a little bit of a spot because we were all friends. We were friends, right. Before. We've had a lot of stuff, together, and so we kind of reconciled differences, and we brought Corey on as that third person. We thought, let's, if we are coming back, let's shift a little bit of direction, add a third co-host, see how that goes. And it has been, so far, it's been great. Jimmy's definitely a good guy. I mean, I don't think that we were ever not friends. We just, like I say, we had a situation and we went separate ways for a little bit, but I think we're better together than we probably would be apart, just for that chemistry and stuff that we had built over the year of doing the podcast. And so, we're back, and it's been fun. It's been fun with Corey. We did find out we were having a little bit of technical issues. Corey's internet connection, he was about 4 to 5 seconds behind us when we were recording. So, we've told the joke and moved on. And then he's getting a belly laugh, and it kind of seemed like that he wasn't being engaged in the show, but he couldn't, if I said something right now and had to wait 5 seconds for you to hear me and your answer, yeah, and that's what it was. So we think that we have that worked out. So we'll be recording this weekend for the episode that comes out on our new episodes come out on Monday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we think we've got that figured out, and we're super excited. The channels, since Jimmy and I have been back, has grown pretty good. There was, talk that maybe Jimmy and I kind of did that as a work, that
that's that's something else I was going to ask you too. A little clickbait.
Yeah, that we had ended that for whatever reason, but no, there was no shenanigans. It was just to be upfront and honest, it was done for that time frame, and again, we're kind of better as a whole than we are separate, and we thought there's no sense in starting over. Let's build on what we had, and so far it's going great. We're super excited to have Corey. He's a funny guy, very knowledgeable, and now that he's going to be able to be a little more engaged in the show, being on the same,
instead of being
at the same time with us. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, looking forward to that, going forward and growing the show and just having fun in the community for sure.
Well, I can speak for myself. I'm glad you all are back.
Thank you.
I'd watched some previously, and then I'm glad to see you all have reconvened and you're moving on down the road with it. I just had a couple of things I wanted to just have you talk about just real quick, if you would.
Sure.
You had went to in Cincinnati. I think it was in Cincinnati, but you had mentioned about you went over to the Underground Railroad Museum.
Yes.
Can you kind of talk about that a little bit? Because I've never even heard of that being in Cincinnati at all.
Yeah, and again, Cincinnati, Kentucky. I don't know which state it was in, but it was right there.
Area.
I think it was in Cincinnati because we did have to cross the bridge back over the river from the hotel. So we're going to say it was in Cincinnati. But yeah, that came about. My girlfriend Jill and I, we were, when everybody else had went sourcing that morning on Friday, we were kind of looking for something else to do that was non-reseller related, and we were able to hook up with Rod Picking and Punching, and his wife Jess. They had actually mentioned they wanted to go over there to do something to the Underground Railroad Museum, and so that's the first time I had met Rod, and it's like, great, boom, let's all go. We had our car, they had to fly in, and we had our car since we drove, so we were able to take them. But the museum is a very, very great exhibit, very great museum for basically talking about the beginnings of the Underground Railroad, its reasonings, the beginnings, starting with the slavery and the slave trade back then, and how that evolved to free a lot of the slaves through the Underground Railroad. And just very, very enlightening, because I think a lot of times, in our generations, the Underground Rail, and if I would happen to ever say anything that was insensitive, it's not intentional, but in a lot of times the history of the Underground Railroad, or what the Underground Railroad was, or the slavery, it almost, you learn that in your history classes, and it seems like it's okay, well, that happened then, but where does that really where does that fit in with everyday life and such? But when you go to this museum, it was very just very enlightening about that whole time period, and how people were treated, and how one race of people could just have no regard for the humanity of another race, and you just really felt you could feel it in there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You could feel it, and just I learned so much there about what before was like a history lesson. It's like, well, yeah, that's I don't want to say a real thing, because I honestly, I don't want to make it, right. I don't want to sound insensitive, but
no, I understand.
It's and I hope people that understand what I am saying, or how I'm feeling that. But just a really great day, really well put together museum. It says it's like one of the top museums in the United States. And, people came from all around. It was, very, there was a good crowd there just for an average day, I think. And then we got to have that shared experience with another reseller that wasn't about reselling.
Right.
And, and we just had real good discussions with Rod and Jess about that. And just very, very happy to have gone and got to experience that. I go sourcing all the time. I go to yard sales all the time. I go to a rally or an event to kind of take a break from doing some of that,
right.
But that's also an attraction of the meetups, is you get to go picking with other people that you wouldn't normally get to see what their eyes see what they pick, and just kind of get that shared experience of sourcing. But to have the shared experience of going to something like the Underground Railroad Museum was, it was truly one of the highlights of the trip. I'm there as a reseller, as a YouTuber, wanting to meet those, and who would have thought that going to a museum, would be such a highlight. But I would suggest, if anybody's in that area, or even take a trip to the area just to see the museum, is definitely, I would recommend it.
Well, if I am ever going through that area, I'm definitely going to look it up, because like I said, I've never even heard of it before.
Yeah.
But to hear what you were talking about, it's got me intrigued for sure. How well do you know the Cincinnati Bengals football team?
Well, I am north of Columbus, so I am a Browns fan, but being in the state, I have some knowledge. Are we doing Bengals trivia? Is that where you're going to knock me?
Well, I'm going to tell you something in a minute, but I'm going to tell you something before that. I'm a Pittsburgh
right.
Steelers fan, so.
Oh, can we end the show now? Hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead. Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I guess we can still be friends for a little while.
I have been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan since I was 7 years old. And of course, we didn't have the Tennessee Titans back when I was growing up.
Yes.
Back when I was growing up, you were either a Dallas Cowboys fan or you were a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I chose Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously.
Yes.
But I'm going to take you to the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins, that plays for the Bengals.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He's from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I actually reffed him when he was a basketball player in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I called several of his games. And
was he a good basketball player?
That's what I was going to tell you. He's probably one of the best athletes I've ever had the privilege to referee. His sophomore year, he was playing out of school in Knoxville, and they were down by 2 points, and this other team shooting a free throw. About 10 seconds to go, they missed the free throw. It comes off, and he goes whizzing by me. He cuts across the floor, jacks a three with 2 seconds to go right in front of his bench. He must have been 35 feet out and drained it. It was nothing but the bottom of the net, and won that game by 1 point.
That's cool.
A sophomore.
Now, okay, as a ref, do you get excited for one or other of the teams, or are you just calling the game down the middle, or does something like that get you riled up and excited for the victory?
Well, no. I'm right down the middle. I mean, I've been at it a long time, and that's what you have to be. It's almost like the Santa Claus thing. You don't want to do a disservice to whatever it is you're into. I mean, if you're going to do it, you do it all in, and you do it by the book.
Yes.
But it's fun to watch the crowd, the kids get excited in those moments and be a part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It gives you chills. I played college basketball, and that's what helps me lean on my officiating is to stay cool under pressure. And that, I'm going to tell you right now, I knew that kid was special at that moment because he was so cool under pressure. And, you know, he made the shot and he didn't go crazy or anything. He just looked around like,
that's supposed to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when that preparation meets, you know, that moment.
Yes.
And that's why he's a professional athlete now. He's highly prepared, and, you know, he's a great kid. You know, I wish him all the best. I know he had just got hurt this past weekend when he was playing the Titans. He's got a cracked rib or something. He is one of the best athletes, and what a great young man that I've ever had the privilege of reffing before.
Well, I tell you, as a young kid, this isn't going into I was a professional level athlete. This is going into that when I was a kid, my team was the Houston Oilers way back in that are now when Earl Campbell played, and now of course they are the Tennessee Titans. I'm
down to one other thing, and I'm gonna let you get out of here. The speaker system on the riverboat. Somebody had mentioned it. I just almost wanted to pry into that.
On behalf of my fellow cruisers, I reach out now to B&B riverboats, and I say, please fix that speaker system. It was okay. So the boat was 3 levels. There's, you know, the main kind of dining room, or the 2 floors were dining room, and then you have the open top, and upstairs they had the DJ that was there for that evening. And the DJ was, you know, pumping out the hits up there, and it was great. And then they decided at some point to patch it through the ship-wide speaker system, and it was just totally overloading the speakers. They were crackling. They were just, and it was so loud. You know, you have that top floor, people that want to cut loose, that want to dance and have that party atmosphere. But there were a lot of people. There were a number of people that only came for that event, for the boat ride, because that was technically when you bought tickets for the event, that's what you were buying them for. The rest of the weekend, all the stuff on Friday, early Saturday, anything going on Sunday. We had actually got there on Thursday. There were resellers there already on Thursday in the hotel. We hung out there a lot, but it made it very difficult. These speakers on the boat, because they were blaring and they were crackling, it made it hard on those bottom 2 levels to maybe just sit if you wanted to meet somebody and do some networking and do some talking about things where if that was the only event you were going to, that you hadn't had that time back at the hotel, or maybe if you went sourcing with somebody during the day. So yes, please, B&B riverboats, either the DJ, who is a great DJ, by the way, don't patch into the ship-wide system, or do something, fix it.
Leave it on that level.
Yes, that's you know, I think the speakers were a good quality speaker system. Just they were overdriving them, you know, with the beats of the music and stuff like that. But that I think is the one. If you ask anybody that was there, that's the one complaint that you've heard about. Everybody says the event was great. The food was really good. The camaraderie and the meetup was great. And everybody says, but those speakers. And so that would be the takeaway, or the story about that. So,
well, that is all the time that we have this evening on the Slim Flippers podcast. Ken from SSKPromo, I want to thank you again for joining us. We appreciate your time stepping in to our podcast, and we wish you all the best with your podcast restarting and further on down the road, sir.
Very good. I appreciate it. And another, can I pitch another self-promotion? Can I be?
Yes, you can pitch them all you want.
On my own channel, SSKPromo, I do a live show every Tuesday called Ken versus 10, where I take on my death pile. I list 10 items from my death pile, see how many of those items I can sell before the next week's show. And every now and then I have a guest where I take on them as well and such. So, not only the Reseller Clickbait podcast, but catch me on my channel with Ken versus 10. And I'm usually around someplace. I do the post round analysis on the Monday night draft. If you watch that on Paul Philly Flipper or Nashville Flippers channel.
Nashville Flippers, yeah.
You can catch me there on Monday nights doing that just silliness in between rounds. And so I'm out and about and hitting the trails and getting the guests on great shows like this. Wes, I really appreciate you having me on, asking me to come on. That is also humbling when somebody reaches out and says, hey, we'd like to have you on. And because that's fun. Everybody likes to get out there and talk with other resellers and learn some stuff and pass along stuff that they know.
Well, that's a nod to you, Ken, because for me, you put out energy that I like. You read people and you're like, man, this person right here has got a lot of good energy. I'd like to speak with them. So that's why I sent you the message. I was like, hey, if you could come on, I would appreciate it. And I do appreciate you joining us on the Slim Flippers. I really do. It's been a fun evening this evening talking
for sure.
with you.
Great to meet you, Wes, for sure.
And I look forward to meeting you face to face someday.
Yes.
Hopefully I'll get to one of these places.
Yes, for sure.
Long.
Yeah. Make it a point to get to any meetup that's close to you, or if you know other resellers in your area, reach out to them. I say that to you, Wes, or anybody else. Reach out. Maybe it's just a lunch. Maybe there's a community sale or a big flea market in your area. Reach out to another reseller. Spend a day, spend a couple hours, eat a sandwich with them. I guarantee you're going to enjoy the experience.
For sure. You actually inspired me on this Ken versus 10. I'm gonna see if I can do that. I'm gonna try. Okay. I'm going to see if I can pull that off. I'm going to grab me 10 things out of my desk. I'll see what I can do.
There you go.
So
and list them and see, how they can sell in a week. Which is sometimes it's like I sell one or two things.
Right.
Because not everything's gold that we pick up, and some things are long tail, some things are short tail.
When you first pick them up, you're like, "Oh, this is everybody's going to want this."
It'll be gone in a minute. Well, for me, it'll be gone. Oh, I'll list this. It's worth this much, and then it gets put in the death pile, and then it's like I forget about it. Then I pick it up, a month or two later, and I go, "Why didn't I list it?" Then you list it, and it sells in a couple of days. You're like, "I could have had that, $50 in my pocket a long time ago," and it's just sitting there.
Well, when I come from a yard sale, I'll go through my garage and I'll just set that bag right there. I'll get to it, and then 3 weeks later, I'm like, "What's in this?"
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it starts, and that's where it goes.
And that's where the pile grows and grows, and so it's a fun little challenge that I do, and hopefully it's entertaining. It's a lot of me just interacting with the chat as well while I'm doing the show, and I have those things listed already. I have them all drafted before the show starts. So it's not a true listing show, because it's very hard to do a listing show and keep up with the chat and be entertaining and have fun. And so I got called out on that right away. They're like, "Well, you don't have those. You're not listing those right now." It's like, so that's where I went with the challenge. I'm trying to beat my death pile. And if you tune in next week, you're going to see what I sold. My best week so far, I actually sold 8 of the 10 items that I listed on that show. And so, hey, anytime.
How many weeks have you done this? Because are you tracking it?
Not really. There's nothing formal about it. I did it starting like last winter when sourcing around here, we have a sourcing season basically, because we have winters here in Ohio that you kind of get from maybe mid-March, end of March through like about now, September, 1st of October, and the yard sale season is over. And so you kind of have to rely on that sourcing at thrift stores and maybe auction houses and stuff. But I started the show last fall or winter and I did it on Thursdays. I did it on Thursdays like at 11 a.m. Well, when yard sale season came around, it's like, well, I want to go sourcing around here. Yard sales start on Thursdays. And my audience also was going sourcing. And so that wasn't going to work. So I took a little bit of a hiatus, a couple months right in the beginning of yard sale season, because I was just busy, out there at the sales all the time and then trying to list. And then I picked it back up. I thought I want to get back into this because it was fun. And so I started it up again, and I did a few episodes where I called it Ken versus 10 versus, and I would have on special guests. And so it was not only me taking on my death pile and them taking on theirs, it was that little friendly kind of rivalry between the two of us. And then the follow-up show, I would do like a recap follow-up show with the same guests. I'd play some games with them. We would tell who won, and I have a prize package, that may come with a headshot or something like that. Some macaroni and cheese. Just depends on if they win or not. And so now I'm doing that on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays at noon, I'm doing that. I follow the RIN. Reseller Network, that they do the listing and loafing on OBX's channel, on Eric's channel. And so just so people that are listing all day, they can kind of watch RIN, they can watch me and go through that. And it's fun. It's a good fun. It's a good challenge. I try to be silly with stuff. This week's show, actually, I talked about the reseller rally. I didn't actually even list anything. Well, what I did was, the goof was, I listed everything that I had picked up while I was sourcing in Cincinnati, which was nothing because I never went out. I went to the Underground Railroad Museum. I hung out at the hotel and just kind of networked. That was a good networking time with people that didn't go out sourcing. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, now I'm going to give a plug too for my other podcast that I'm on, Finders Flippers. We're on the Finders Flippers podcast as well. And I'm on there with Johnny from Frizzy's Finds and Stuart from Franklin Hill Ventures. So we would love to have you come on there with the other three of us, if you could at any time. You have some time, you could join us and it's a reselling roundtable. We'll just talk shop, and I would. If you'll join us, we'd appreciate it.
I would love to do that. Yeah, I just watched, I think, your latest episode, because I know I follow Johnny Frizzy on Instagram and stuff, and love the posts that they put out and seeing all the things that they find. So yeah, I would definitely come on there for sure.
Awesome. Well, Ken, we appreciate your time, sir, and we hope you have a great evening. Thanks again for joining us on the Slim Flippers.
For sure. Thank you for having me, Wes.
Have a great evening.
You too.